Hello and welcome to Pallegney. We are now in the morning of April, just before 7:30 in the morning. We've cleared all our produce into the farm store, and we have a small problem with our wood greenhouse. So it's produced and delivered a fair amount of wood to the sawmill, as we showed in the last episode, but what's happened is that it's producing a lot of wood chips, and the wood chips have actually stopped production because they are producing too fast. So it is basically stunted our wood production. Not too worried about it. We will over time look at some sort of mod or some sort of way that we can use the wood chips, because at present they're not being delivered anywhere, and the mod doesn't allow it to be separated out so that we could sell them directly or anything along those lines. In the event, we'll just get that all cleared out. We'll do that on a time lapse and we'll get back to you once it's done. You're back with me, and we're getting a reasonable amount, just over 1,000 for each pellet, plus we're getting 150 for each box that we had the wood chips in. So yeah, not too bad. Okay, so that's that cleared now. So what we'll do is we'll just nip up to the sawmill and go and have a look and see what has been done there. I think we had long planks producing, so we've got 9 at least. There may be still some in storage as well. So what we need to do is just have a look and see. Well, we better go and put a weight on the back of this first of all, because we'll try and pick up at least 3 of those at a time, maybe try a bit more, who knows. Let's go and get that weight put on. I think it's at the top here somewhere. I think it's near our workshop. Where is it? Where is it? There it is there. Just get that hooked up. Shouldn't take too long to get these delivered. Here we go, hooked up. Let's go and have a look and see what's happening with those. Well, let's go and pick up those pallets of long planks. I must say I'm quite enjoying the compact nature of our little operation at the moment. We're not having to go too far to deliver everything. We're selling everything on our farm, so we are doing it from beginning to end. Right, let's just have a look and see what we got here. So there's 9 there. I think we'll be able to pick those up easily. Could actually pick up the pallets, but let's put them onto the forks and get them delivered. I think what we must try and do at some stage is change these over to wooden beams, or do both long planks and wooden beams. I did do a little mod review on this, and the wooden beams seem to make a lot of money, so we'll check that out. There we go. Come on, pick that up. Let's see if we can get 6 of those on. And then if we can, which I think we will be able to, let's see if we can get them all the way to the sale point without dropping any. That's going to be the challenge. We'll just take it nice and easy, slow but sure. Yeah, I thought we didn't quite give ourselves enough. Oh, there we go. Yeah, some will come up. Space to turn around, but it's okay. We can maneuver. Slowly down the hill. Slowly, slowly. It'll be quicker for us to do this quite slowly, and rather than have to mess around trying to pick them up again. Almost there. Maybe a little bit too cautious. Oh no, we're not. Oh, at least that fell the right way. Here we are, just about there. And away they go. How much do we get for that? Oh, nice. That's a good amount of money. We're over 300,000. We're halfway to our target already. Well, we'll go and pick up the rest of those and we'll get those delivered. As I said, I think long beams is probably going to be the next thing that we need to do here. Did I say long beams? I meant wooden beams. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the way the things are working out now. As I said, we just got to work out what to do with the wood chips. I think during this episode and the next episode I'll see if there's any what was I going to say there? Just got a bit distracted. If there's any mods or base game productions that use wood chips, we also don't want something that's too expensive to build, always too big to build as well, because we're going to have to do something with the land. We need to make at least 2 fields out of that land to create a field for grass, because we need to grow some grass for our goats as they start reproducing and getting bigger. And then we'll have another field for growing some sort of crop, not quite sure what yet. We've got these last 3 to do. There's 323, so we're doing okay money wise now. It should be fairly easy to get out, given that we've already taken 6 at a time. Watch me drop this now. Yes, I think the piece of land that sort of borders to the top of this SAWMILL area we'll keep for another production, particularly if we can get something in there that takes wood chips, and then that'll kind of complete the circle of using every bit of wood that we can. We'll just go and look in the mod. I know there's, well, I was going to say, I know there's a mod that does toys, but I think that creates wood chips as well. We don't want to be creating any more wood chips. So there we go. All that is delivered, and we're up to a reasonable amount of money. So let's go and have a look and see what we've made. Sold products, 165,000 this morning, so that's looking good. We cannot complain about that. Really can't complain about that. I was just about to park up when I realized that I had forgotten to take down the milk down to the dairy, or to decide what we're going to do with it. Now I think I've changed my mind a little bit. I was going to just deliver directly to the co-op and take the money, but I think because we're making such good money from the wood products now, I'm going to continue with our dairy at the old farm, and we will produce goat cheese as well. We'll just continue putting the milk in there until it's filled up, and then we will decide what we'll do with any surplus milk. Hopefully by then we might be in a position to put our own little dairy on up at this top area. Well, we'll see. That's for the future. In any case, we'll see you once we get down to the dairy. Well, here we are at the dairy, and we're just going to drop this off, and then we will just have a look and see if there's anything to be collected. No, I didn't think there would be. And then we will activate some cheese making, goat's cheese. Looking forward to that. So we have that delivered. Let's go in and activate the goat's cheese. No, it's not what we want. Buffalo cheese. Where's the goat cheese? Goat cheese, there we go. Should produce a little bit quicker than the bottled milk. Well, we'll wait and see. Can't remember what the bottled milk was, but it has been quite slow. But we'll just let it tick over now. It is our own dairy, so we'll just see what happens. We'll leave it to storing. Good stuff. That's that sorted. Let's get back into the tractor and we'll head on back up to the farm. And well, actually I think we may go to the store and pick up a plough so that we can start creating those new fields. So I'll see you once we get to the store. Here we are at the store. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to take off the weight off the back. We'll put it onto the front so that we can put the plough on the back. Let's just do that little transition quickly. Should be able to connect up on the 3-point hitch just under the front loader. Will it hitch up? Yeah, it's going to, no problem. Right, so let's get in and go and buy the trailer. Not trailer, it's the plough. I think this is one we're going to get, the Lizard 6 meter. Only needs 80 horsepower to run it, which is very generous indeed. And it's one of my favorites. We'll get that bought. Right, not much you can do in terms of modifications. It is a pretty basic piece of equipment. So yeah, we'll get that purchased and then we'll go and pick it up. There we go. There it is there. We'll get that picked up, take it back up to the farm, and we'll start working on that field. We're just going to plough in the spinach that is there. It's just not worth collecting it and having to lease the huge equipment that is required to bring it in. Right, so we'll see you once we're back up at the farm. See you later. we're just approaching the farm. I think what we'll do is we'll go and drop off the front end loader and then get through and go and start working on that field. So I'm going to divide the remainder of the field into 3. As I mentioned earlier, the top little bit that sort of joins onto the SAWMILL area, we're going to not do anything with just yet, because I think I'll put another production there at some stage. And then the rest of the field we'll divide into 2. The top half I'll use for grass, and then the bottom half, which is the, let me just hold on and I'll show you. So the bottom half will be this sort of bottom area down here. So what we'll do is divide that up to sort of the bend at the top there into one field, and then the top we'll make into a second field, which, as I mentioned, will be for grass. So let's just go through the general gist of the whole thing, and then I'll just point it out to you as we go along. Then the rest of it I'll do on a time lapse, just so that you don't get too bored just watching me create a field. Fantastic. Let's get that lower down. Create fields. Yeah, there we go. Well, we don't really have to create field for this because it is already a field. Well, yeah, there we go. I did put on create field because we created the road there, of course, and we might want to square things off a bit. Right, so round about here is where I'll split the fields. This little triangular section in the middle of the fork of the roads there, I will put a haystack to be able to store the grass that we mow and convert it into hay for our goats. And the area now to the left of this is what I'm going to keep for a production. That's pretty much how the field is going to look. So the rest of it we'll do on a time lapse, and we'll get back to you once it's done. See you a bit later. beck with me now. We're just about finished. Probably get this done in about 2 passes. It's all gone off reasonably well. Feels the shape and in the positions that I wanted them. Well, not really the positions, but the divide made more or less where I wanted it to be made. So quite happy with that. Right, let's get going. Finish this off. So this top field will be a reasonable size and should keep our goats in hay for the winter months. Well, it's more as the numbers increase, really. That's what we've got to take, because we've got the meadow that it does supply some food, and initially it was enough, but I think we're starting to get to the stage where we're pushing the meadow a little bit far in terms of just using that as feed. We have been topping it up with little bits and pieces. When we had the contracts for doing the verges for the council, we were able, as I said, we were able to just top up bits and pieces, and then we bought that rather expensive hay just to tide them over. But you can see the meadow's starting to, it's nice and green now, got lots of little babies. I think this is where we're going to put the haystack in. I was going to say the sty. We're going to put the haystack in, so we'll get that done quickly. Well, let's go and get parked up first of all, and then we'll come back and get that sorted. Saw a couple of boxes of wood chips already there. Try and get rid of those before we finish off this episode, just so that we can get the maximum production into our sawmills. Where shall we put this? I think next to the chess table. The people sitting there having their coffees and whatever and playing chess will be able to admire our brand new plough. Sure, they'll appreciate that. Oh dear. In any case, we'll get that. Oops. Let's just lean it against the fence. Might be a bit too close. There we go. Yeah, fine. Right, let's get this parked up, and then we'll go and sort out the haystack. Okay, so I want to get that haystack in sort of this area, basically the bottom of that top field, so that we can bring it all there, get it fermented up, not fermented, dried out to make hay, the grass of course. And there we go, under factories, haystack, and that should fit quite neatly into that little triangle there. A little bit further back. Yeah, around about there somewhere. We're looking at the circle now. Let's using the controller. I've got both markers up. Or maybe there. No, I still think the it'll work there, I suppose. I still like it in the centre here. Not sure how it'll work. It's not quite as flat as where it was there, but if we just have the Just be a nice little feature. And of course I don't want the goats trying to jump over the fence and trying to get at the haystack if it's too close to the fence. There we go, that's that done. Nice. So we're about to bring in the grass from there. Right, a couple more long planks in there. Let's go and activate some wood beams. Do we have it? Yeah, we do have it activated by the looks of things. No wood coming in just yet. Now the next thing we have to do is we need to go and get ourselves a planter, or a seeder should I say, to plant the grass. So we'll get that sorted out and we'll see you once we are down at the store. Well, we're down at the store now, and one of the managers has come in, just tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Come inside, I've got something to show you." And I thought, well, no harm in having a look. He said he's got a second-hand tractor that he wants me to look at, and he's probably heard that we're making a bit of money now, so he's trying to flog us something. Let's have a look and see what he's got. And there it is, the Fendt 700 Vario, 83,000 odd, 50% off. Not too bad, not too shabby. Let's have a look at it. I like the look of it. Oh dear, dear, dear. This is what happens when people know you're doing well. Well, let's see. We need to see what we can change. It's always the case when you think you're getting something cheap. You just want to add on, add on. I do definitely want to put some beacons on. I don't know what this Prof one is. That's 19,000, which was an automatic upgrade. I think I'll just leave it on. Yeah, put a front load onto it as well, just to keep it up to being able to do the same job as the other one. And we'll customize the license plate just for a change. So we'll make that, what shall we make it? I think we'll go for NN. Fairly easy to change. Just had to convince my brain to do it. Oh dear. What number should we put in there? What number? What number? Not sure what I should put in here. Put it 25 for obvious reasons, and FS just for a bit of fun. I don't think we've done a license plate for ages, so yeah. Second-hand vehicle custom plates. It's going to cost us 105,000. I think we can finance it. Finance for 6 months. It's going to cost us 17 grand a month for 6 months. Bit of interest. But let's do that. There we go. 6 months it'll be paid off. Right, that's not what we expected to do. There's the new beast there. And we'll get that sold. 32 grand odd. Not to be scoffed at. Yep. So I'm sure that the folks back at the farm will be a little bit surprised seeing me leaving in a John Deere and returning in a Fendt. any case, what did we actually come down here for? Let's put that weight on just so we don't forget. But I think we came down to buy a seeder. Once we've got the weight on, we'll go sort the seeder out, and we'll head on up back to the farm. There we go. Seeder time, as they say in the classics. Oh, I do like the look of this tractor. Nice and modern compared to the last one. Looking good inside. Look at all these buttons. Never going to know what to do with all of them compared to the John Deere. Nice little seat for a passenger. Brilliant. I think I want to get the Great Plains 49,500. Decent width, 4.6 meters. Can do both, can fertilize at the same time. I think that'll suit us. Horsepower 110. Well, yeah, we've got more than enough now to do that. Fantastic. Yeah, I like it. We're going to get that. I don't think it's worth going for any of these other... Well, we don't have enough horsepower to do any of those. Definitely want to get that one, I think. Those are a bit smaller. Width is not as wide. It's got a long pull in the front, and it's 4 meters. It's nearly a meter better in width. Yeah, definitely Great Plains. Just don't know why I can't push the buy button. Time to buy it, I think. Looks good. Fertilizer distribution point, yes, we want that. That's extra 5,000. Just saves quite a bit of time. There we go, that's all done. Nice. And there we have it. New tractor. All started up nicely. All the lights came on. They've kindly serviced it for us and everything. So quite often when you buy second-hand vehicles you need to do a bit of work on it. But yeah, very happy indeed with our purchase. Let's get that hooked up, get back up to the farm, and we'll get planting the grass. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the episode here, and in the next episode we will sort out the grass in the other field and do the other bits and pieces to get through the rest of this month. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. Quite a bit happened again, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio.